question for Mr. Silvas. It was very interesting to get some of the history and background on how some of these rules came to be. My name's Chris Kale. I'm a planning consultant. I work mostly in rural areas. I was interested in how you came up with the setbacks that the current DEC law has of 100 feet, given that other states nearby, like Pennsylvania, it's 200 feet, and that complies with the regulations the FHA has for the secondary mortgage market, whereas the 100-foot limit does not. I know some towns have been having a lot of problems with their realtors and their tax assessors in terms of whether or not title insurance is voided and that sort of thing. How did the 100-foot setback come about?
I don't exactly remember or know that that was probably a regulation before I came on, but there have been several attempts at looking at the regulations and redoing the regulations. I don't know that they've actually been redone, with the exception of the things that had to be changed because of changes in legislation.
Yeah,
So
actually, the changes in legislation, right now as we speak, the third reading of the Home Rule Bill is before the Assembly, and Senator Seward has also sponsored that in the Senate. So I think some of the impetus to bring about those home rule provisions and to make clear that home rule zoning can apply is in order to counteract some of these problems that have developed where people can't sell their homes because the banks won't write mortgages.
So we had a question about that. There was a lobby day, an IOGA lobby day, and there was a question raised by one of the staffers about that. And frankly, usually what happens is banks who are not familiar with oil and gas operations, are not familiar with bonding, there's always kind of a learning curve before this problem. What happened?
So like Wells Fargo and Citibank?
Yeah, it was Wells Fargo and Bank of America. As a matter of fact, those are the two people that were mentioned. The person who was with me at the time was a young lady from Alexco, which is a land-based services, and she looked into it, and she concluded, and she wrote back to the staffer that they know of no problem of mortgages not being sold or whatever. So,
Well, we've got quite a lot of it documented.
if you do,
Yeah.
I would send it to IOGA.
Well, actually, we've been sending it to the legislature so that they can pass a home rule bill so that we can address it on a time-by-time basis.
Well, but that's just going to complicate issues. If there's a problem that should be fixed by the state, it should be uniform across the state. And that's what I was trying to say. We don't need to have local regulation in every town. Well, if there's something wrong with the setback that's inconsistent with a mortgage or whatever, let's fix it.
Well, there may be places where there's more or less activity.
I'm aware of the white papers that are coming out of Ithaca. I'd like to know who we are, and I'll talk to you afterwards. But
Sure,
the white papers, they're starting to look into this at Ithaca, and we haven't seen documentation that any mortgages have been declined based on the setbacks. But it is an issue that we'll probably be discussing here at the gas station meeting as well.
Yeah, I would recommend to have maybe some of the realtors in the more active real estate counties come, because that's where they've had the problems.
We've asked that here, and we've
Yeah.
asked bankers here, and nobody has brought it up yet.
Right.
And I guess the real question is, and they're referring to second mortgages, not first mortgages, and in
No, it's the
second mortgage.
secondary mortgage market. It's
Right.
when the mortgages are sold.
Right.
Yeah.
And I guess that brings about, if you got $1.5 million in royalty, what are you looking for a second mortgage for?
It's not a second mortgage, it's a bank that's